Be sure to follow us on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
I'm sitting here thinking about you tonight and all that you mean to me. I used to think I would never fall in love again. I guess I was wrong. When your heart is broken, when your wounded pride is laid to rest, baby, you'll never open your heart to anyone else. You say that you lie. I know you're lying, baby. You see, your mind might be made up, but your heart has got its own plans. There's no one to blame but false pride, telling lies, trying to hide from feeling the pain. I know you don't want to feel, but there's nowhere to hide.
Welcome in. Happy Thursday. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I hope that you are relaxed, you are in good spirits, and ready to get into these trending topics and headlines. We have a great show for you tonight. So, let me give you the rundown on what we're going to be discussing this evening. So, comedian Mike Epps, he did not go on Club Shay Shay, but he did go on All the Smoke podcast, and he covered a couple of topics, but the one that seems to have gotten the people going is where he is discussing how at 53 years old, he feels he is just learning how to properly love a woman. Side note, Mike is on his, I believe, second marriage and has several children from the ages of, I think early 20s, down to maybe 4 or 5 years old. I think his youngest is finally a son. So we're going to get into that. And, a lot of people are giving him flack for that. But does it matter when you learn the lesson, as long as you learn the lesson? We'll talk about that. We're also going to get into Miss Oprah Winfrey. We know she stepped down from the Weight Watchers board after admitting that she used Ozempic. So we're going to talk about what she has planned next that she's bringing to TV regarding the wave of Ozempic, Wegovy, and all of those things that are taking off now. And we are reversing from the BBL look to the super skinny look, I guess, Ozempic face. Is that what we want to call it? Something like that. So we're going to get into that. Plus, we have interviews coming up with the cast of BMF. Season 3 dropped last Friday. Episode 2 is coming up tomorrow. So to get you prepared for that, we're going to talk with Little Meech. Neo joins the cast this season. Showrunner Heather Zukai. And a couple of others, so the entire cast. We are also going to talk to the creative team behind the new Disney Plus animated series, Awaju, which takes place in Lagos, Nigeria. It involves tech, so we'll give you all those details later. And another documentary that is on Hulu, presented by Anscape. It is called Sacred Soil, the Piney Woods School story. And it goes into detail about the oldest Black boarding school in America. So we're going to find out a little bit about their history there, the traditions, what the challenges are today for them, and meet some of the staff and the students there. We talked to filmmaker and director J.J. Adams, and as well as the chief executive of the school, who is also a former student. So that is later on. Plus, oh gosh, I'm forgetting. There's more. Can you believe it? There is more. We also have a throwback interview with Don Porter, who directed the series Deadlocked. It's a docuseries about how America has shaped the Supreme Court. I think it's an important interview to revisit, considering everything that has gone on over the past couple of weeks. And also, we're just coming off a Super Tuesday, so very impactful. Plus an interview with Mekhi Phifer. So a lot coming up for you tonight. But before we get into all of that, I like to start the evening with a few conversation starters. These are topics, things that you need to be aware of. So first up, shout out to New Edition, man. They have started their New Edition residency at the Wynn Hotel, and they just announced that due to the demand, which we knew this was going to happen, right? They have extended their Las Vegas residency, their brand new dates. The tickets go on sale Friday, March 15th, and it's I guess the new dates will be for July 2024. So, summer teas. I'm trying to be there to check that out. Shout out to Any. So this topic, I'm going to just tell you, I think Jake Paul is crazy. And I'm wondering if Mike Tyson is, just bored and wants a little spare change. So, Mike Tyson, at 57 years old, is getting into the ring with boxer. Well, he's a former influencer, YouTuber, turned boxer. Excuse me, Jake Paul. So they're going to go glove to glove July 20th on a live match pay-per-view. It's set to take place at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. That's where the Dallas Cowboys play. And it's going to air on Netflix. Listen. So Nikisa Bidurin, she is the co-founder of Jake Paul's talent agency, Most Valuable Promotions. And this is what was said that we can expect as an audience. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson is a once-in-a-lifetime dream matchup. A dream matchup for who? But anyway, and I anticipate it will be the most watched boxing event in modern boxing history. People are going to watch it to see Jake Paul get blown across the ring. I just want to know, have you watched any of the footage of Mike Tyson sparring at 57 years old today? He's out there in his little, I guess they're boxers, but they look like boxer briefs, really tiny, and getting it in. I am telling you, I wouldn't even want to be in the wind space of a Mike Tyson punch. Andy?
I'm hoping that there are no type of shenanigans going on. I hope that this is not like a Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather type situation. Although they really did look like they were kind of boxing, I will say this. I know this is a huge, huge payday for Mike Tyson.
Gotta be.
That's the only reason why he's coming out to come and box. Once again, I just hope that there's no shenanigans. I know Jake Paul, a lot of people give him flack because, he fights a lot of has-beens, those who aren't necessarily boxers or whatnot. But this is an ultimate test for him. And I just hope that everything is just real legit.
If you recall, Jake was on the undercard when Tyson had the exhibition match against Roy Jones Jr. in 2020. That is when Jake knocked out former NBA slam dunk champion Nate Robinson. It was a bad look. It was really, I felt really bad for Nate in that moment. So we will see what's going on. Listen, we will get to more trending topics, more headlines on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough. 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 KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Okay, so let me just wrap up this Mike Tyson, Jake Paul thing. I wonder, one, how much they're paying Mike. Two, is Mike needing a little bit of money? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. He has his weed line. He has his podcast. Seems to be doing really well. Why are you playing? The bag has to be spectacular. You know? Really does. Andy?
Or he probably just wants to beat him up.
You think so?
I don't know.
This is what he said about Jake Paul. He said, Paul has grown significantly as a boxer over the years, so it will be a lot of fun to see what the will and ambition of a kid can do with the experience and aptitude of a GOAT. It's a full circle moment that will be beyond thrilling to watch. As I started him on his boxing journey on my which I just mentioned about him and Roy Jones Jr., and now I plan to finish him. So Paul's record is 9-1. He has 6 knockouts. We know Tyson has 50 total victories, 44 via knockout. He hasn't been Iron Mike in a long time. But again, there is plenty of footage that says, why would you even want to play that game? I wonder if Mike is going to take it easy on him. I wonder. Because I fear if he gets caught with one of those Tyson punches, he's going to be laid the heck out. Like, worse than Craig did Debo. It ain't going to be pretty. So we'll have to see July 20th on Netflix. The bag is big for live sports. And, good luck with that. Listen, in other kind of sports-related news, but not more financial news, Clutch Sports, that is the company that LeBron James' agent Rich Paul runs. They have just announced a partnership with Robinhood. Robinhood is the financial app that you can purchase stocks and get financial literacy information and get your IRA there and all types of things like that. So they're a financial services company. I guess that's a better way for me to say it. So they have announced that they are partnering up. As part of the deal, Rich is going to be a strategic advisor to Robinhood as they expand more into sports, entertainment, and media. He's going to work closely with Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenoviv to, spot new partnership opportunities in the sports and entertainment space. Andy?
Looks like we're gonna see some Laker jerseys with the Robin Hood thing on the jersey.
Oh, we're going to see a lot more than that because they're trying to, pack it in. They said that they are massive sports fans and they know that the customers are as well. So working with Rich and Clutch Sports is the perfect way to get the Robinhood brand out to a wider audience and partner with athletes and organizations that are aligned with the consumer's needs, i.e., Black people, sports fans too, but they really mean Black people. That's just my assumption. But, I do think it's a good thing. I would like to see us more doing things around the financial space because there's opportunity there. There are jobs there. And this is the thing that I always like to tell people, especially younger people, but in general, just because maybe you can't play a sport or be on the field, there are so many different ways that you can be involved with things like sports that are not one-to-one on the field or being an agent that can allow you to stay close to things that you're interested in and your passions and anything that you can think of as far as the type of job, there probably is one within these organizations. So I also like that aspect to it. Staying on the financial literacy tip, if you've heard of the Earn Your Leisure podcast, they have a whole system that is set up about educating Black and brown people about financial literacy opportunities and discussions and conversations. Well, they have finally developed a financial literacy school curriculum, and it is launching in 10 public schools in the Bronx. Their hope is to take it nationwide. And I am so excited for that because we often have conversations about how there needs to be changes in the modern education system. Anyway, that's something that we'll discuss later on in the Pineywood School interview. But we don't really have a good financial literacy conversation happening in grade school, in junior high school for kids. And it's something that is imperative. They need to understand. Excuse me, especially when we're at the point now with NIL deals and TikTok paying creators for going viral and things of that nature. Kids can make a lot of money at an earlier age from various sources. So it is imperative that they understand what's going on, how to grow their money, about paying taxes, things of that nature. So I think that programs like this are important, and I'm excited to see it and hope to see more. So shout out to them for getting it in. Now, let's get into this Mike Epps conversation. So as mentioned, Mike Epps is an actor, comedian. We've been talking about him lately because he jokingly shared that he wished Cat Williams had said something negative about him in his interview with Club Shay Shay that took place 2 months ago because he needed the publicity. Mike has a Netflix special that is currently out. He's also, I think they're on season 5 of the Upshaws, as well as he is hosting a new version of BET's Comic View. It's on BET Plus. It drops, I think next week. I mentioned next week. So in a recent interview, Mike shared how as a man, as an adult man, he is just learning how to properly love a woman. So let's check out his comments, and then I'll explain to you why those comments already have him backpedaling and apologizing. But let's take a listen.
My kids are beautiful, man. I had a son the day my mother died. My mother died 2020, COVID. My son was born the same time, bro. And I never had a son. He looked just like my mama, man. I swear, that's how I know God's real.
In death comes life. Yeah,
gave me a son. My mama gave me a son walking out the door, man.
That's beautiful.
I used to cry all the time and ask God, what did I do wrong that I can't have a son? But I know what it was. I done lied to all these women and got them pregnant.
And sold them dreams and like
I
that.
got 5 girls.
You got 5 girls
To
too.
let you know how much lying
You
I've
been
been
lying
doing.
too.
I've been doing too much
That's
lying.
one thing that I'm gonna get right before I leave this earth. I'm gonna learn how to treat a woman 100% right.
Dope. That's dope.
Cause that's something that I want to do for my mother, for my children, for my daughters. I've never treated a woman right 100%. And now that I'm getting older, I'm realizing, man, you gotta treat a woman right, Mike. You gotta you can't cheat on her. You gotta be her friend. You gotta not be selfish. This is what I want to do. This is one of my dreams, man.
That's dope. That's something we have to learn as men. That's something we really have to learn as men.
I had issues with my mother. So now I want to make a woman. I don't want my kids' mother to, you know what I mean, to have my mother's stuff. So that's one of my things I want to do, man.
So, one, Mike is getting a lot of flack on social media. People are like, you're 53 years old. Why are you just now learning how to treat a woman? And here's the thing, one, I get it. I understand. But at the same time, I think that there is something to be said about learning no matter what age you are and continuing to grow in that process. We are not all perfect people. And sometimes, unfortunately, it might take us a little bit longer than others to get there. As long as you are trying and making the effort, we got jokes. And like he said when he was talking about the thing with Shannon Sharp in general, that's what we do. We make fun, we laugh. So you don't know how people will respond to it. But I think he's a comedian. He can take the jokes, he can handle it. But, kudos to him for recognizing that he needs to improve and step up. However, his wife or somebody must not have appreciated the reference or felt that he should make it clear that he is well into this process of recognizing and that he has been good to his wife. He jumped out there and put up a post on Instagram and said that, I want to apologize to my wife for what I said on this Dumb A podcast. Stuff is a trick bag. I am always misunderstood on what I say on the internet. Shaking my head. Never again will I interview with anyone. Never. I am off this stuff for good. Bump that. Now, and he said again, I want to apologize to my beautiful wife for my ignorant and reckless remarks. I honor you and my family. Please forgive me. So, here's my thing, though. Realistically, is it just that she was embarrassed? Because what he said in the grand scheme of things, I don't feel like was that bad. And it didn't mean that he's in the moment now not treating his wife well or not being a good husband. But I'm sure there are moments, times where it's happened because that's natural. That's what happens with humans. But I don't think it was to the point where he needs to denounce all interviews. And I don't even think that he was misunderstood. I think people had jokes because you sound a little nuts at 53 saying, I don't understand how to love a woman, but we're rocking with you. It's okay. We're still going to hug you and embrace you and accept that and be glad that you are figuring it out now, right? But it has to be that his wife felt uncomfortable or embarrassed because realistically, I don't think that it was a need for him to come out and say that he was misconstrued. I don't feel like he was. I feel like the only thing is that his wife was like, you got me out here looking crazy, especially because, there are rumors about when and exactly how their union came together. So we'll just leave it at that. But, Mike, I think you were doing well acknowledging that, there are moments when you weren't whole, when you were out there wilding out, stepping out. It's real life. It happens. And I know sometimes people feel like when men are sharing these stories, they're sharing it with a badge of pride. Like, yeah, man, in my day, I was out there getting it in. And some of it may be. But at the same time, It's a lesson to be learned. You could be laughing at, wow, that young man was really ruthless and reckless. And now look at me, I'm building houses for my community. He talked about also how earlier in his career that all of the early movies he did, all about the Benjamins, Next Friday, Friday After Next, that he was high on cocaine shooting all of those roles. And he said that he feels like part of what fueled his drug abuse was a form of survivor's remorse. He said that because he came up with so many people that didn't make it out or, had similar circumstances, they had a rough thing, that he didn't really understand about evolution as a man from your environment. And he said that he had to realize that he needed to get rid of some of the people that he was keeping in his circle. And the reason why is because they didn't relate to him unless he was high on drugs or coming down depressed. Then they were like, I love you for life, I got you. But when he was doing well, working out, looking good, he said eating clean, that he felt the fever from them, a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of envy because he was doing better and perhaps they weren't. And that is something, that people waver back and forth with. When you make it out, when you're successful, sometimes the people that came up with you, that you talked about these dreams with, they're not always happy for you. And it's a hard thing. And sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with you. Like he said, it has to do with perhaps where they feel they currently are. And your success shows exactly the areas where they are faulty or maybe missing something. And instead of using it as motivation to get it together or figure it out, envy strikes out. And, it is something that we all deal with. But again, when you figure it out, it's a beautiful thing because that's what life is about. It's about going through a series of experiences, some good, some bad, and working through them and building on that to, go to the next phase and get better. So I hope his wife wasn't too upset. His words probably helped someone. And like I said, I think that's real life. Everybody, not just men, but we talk about it more so with men. People mess up sometimes. Sometimes they're not ready for what they ask for in that moment, and they have to learn and readjust or go through some things. And I think that a little bit of grace when we're talking about the mistakes that we've made in the past and trying to learn and grow as people is necessary because nobody is perfect, and we are all works in progress. Listen, when we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580, news and sports on the other side.
To take me away with your kiss and take me away from all this crazy, 'cause too many words have been spoken. Many lies have been told, baby. You'll never do it again. You tell yourself over and over and over. You're wrong, dead wrong, baby. Yeah, there's nowhere to hide. When love's calling your name from the dark, baby. Nowhere to run, girl. There's nowhere to hide. Yeah, so let love have its way, girl. With your heart, babe. Love calls. There's nowhere to hide. Yeah, when love is calling.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. A new White House video shows President Biden getting advice for his State of the Union speech from actors who have played the president. The group of actors on the video call with Biden include Michael Douglas, Gina Davis, Bill Pullman, Tony Goldwyn, and Morgan Freeman. Biden wrote on X, quote, "I thought I would hear from some folks who have done the job before, sort of," end quote. He said in the video he'd never spoken to so many presidents all at one time. Freeman, who was black and played the president in the 1998 film Deep Impact, said regarding his character's speech, quote, "Hope is the strongest force we have in this country," end quote. State troopers in Maryland have spent the week trying to recruit new talent at a pair of HBCUs. Officials were at Bowie State and Morgan State earlier this week to inform young people about the perks of joining the agency. You can learn more about employment opportunities at the Maryland State Police website. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader. Follow 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 the leader.
Imagine with me here for a minute the most beautiful panoramic setting. Maybe it's an endless ocean, waves crashing on a beach, or a crystal clear mountain lake, peaceful and quiet. Or maybe it's just little kids playing in the park down the street. Wherever your imagination takes you, now imagine right smack in the middle of this perfect picture, a piece of litter. Just one piece right there in the middle of it all. Doesn't exactly fit, does it? In fact, even though it's just one piece, now it's all you can see. That one piece ruins everything. And that's the thing about litter. It doesn't take much to ruin everything. One thing's for sure, it simply does not belong anywhere in California. So here's the good news. If we work together, we will change it. We don't have to let litter, even just one piece, ruin your perfect picture. Not anymore, not ever again. Clean California, zero litter is the goal. Brought to you by Caltrans and CleanCA.com.
Environmental justice is racial justice.
Environmental justice is social justice.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties. Classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Tips to help improve your credit score in 2024. Establishing credit is an important key to achieving financial health, but building a credit history from scratch can feel challenging since you need credit to build credit. First, what does it mean to build credit? All consumers have a score between 300 and 850. You want your score to be as high as possible as lenders look at your credit score to make loan and credit decisions. A good credit score shows you have a track record of borrowing money responsibly. Remember, it's never too late to build or rebuild your credit. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase & Company.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Sky Rizzy, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Sky Rizzy is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Sky Rizzy. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Sky Rizzy, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Sky Rizzy, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizzy.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZY to learn more.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Go with your gut. Your dog's immune system is based in the gut. A diet lacking in nutrients can cause itching, scratching, and a weak immune system. However, there is a solution. DINOVITE. Dinovite.
It took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Was a bop, and the little dance moves he was doing in it. Look, this is the same album that had My on it, and it was one more jam that was on there. Shout out to that. You guys know that I feel like New Edition is the greatest group of all time. We just announced they're extending their residency. Of course, this Johnny Gill album, it was his second solo album, but it also was a part of that time period where New Edition dropped as a group collectively, went on the Heartbreak Tour. Then they came back and Ralph dropped, BBD dropped, Johnny dropped, and, then Bobby came back and dropped again. So, love it. Andy.
Jill, so I'm a huge wrestling fan, right?
Yes.
So I listen to this one particular wrestling podcast, and for whatever reason, the conversation went left, and they started talking about music, and New Edition was brought up.
Oh,
mind you, these are 2 white men, and they were glossing over the fact how great of a group New Edition was. And I swear I'm listening to these cats, and it sounded like me and you talking about New Edition. So it just had me tripped out that, hey, other folks like New Edition too, and they hold them in high regards too. And they said, one of them said, greatest group of all time.
See, I'm not making this up. New Edition is going to get their respect.
And they talked about how outside of them being a group, individually how successful they were, and that's why that makes them, the best group.
See? The talking points we match. We're all together on that. New Edition unites the people. What say you? Welcome back into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, we talked a bit earlier in the week about Usher and his going to Bali and being seemingly supportive of Russell Simmons. Nothing directly linked to the cases that people are alluding to. He's hiding out in Bali until the statute of limitations are up. We don't know, but he's been there for quite some time. But Joe Budden is someone who has come out and spoke and said, listen, all of this about Russ, he's still one of the greatest to ever do it. So what he said was that basically he felt that he gave a different perspective, I guess, about Usher visiting Rush over, did I call him Rush? Like it was back in 1985. He's not Rush anymore. He hasn't been Rush in a very long time. I mean, I suppose we could still reference it. But basically, he's like, they love Russell Simmons, right? He says that because he impacted so many lives positively in and around hip hop. He said, I know y'all don't want me to say it. Y'all don't even want to admit it. I know people see whatever doc that has been made. We know that, I'm blanking on her name, and I apologize for forgetting her name, but she has a documentary about Drew Dixon, I believe is her name, about the alleged crimes of Russell Simmons and the assault accusations that she has levied against him while working at Def Jam. But he goes on to also say that people believe what they believe. There's nothing you guys can do to make people stop loving Russell Simmons. Not a thing in the world. Not a thing in the universe is going to make people stop loving Russell Simmons for as many lives as he's impacted. Russell has been nothing but kind, gentle, sweet, generous, and amazing. If you don't have that horror story. He talked about some other things, but I want to pause there. That's the thing that makes stuff like this tricky. Someone could have been amazing to you, but that doesn't mean that they weren't horrible or heinous to someone else, And I know that it seems unfair that innocent until proven guilty, that you can't defend the person for the good things or the good person that they are in this current climate, because people take that as saying something negative about the victim or victims in this case, alleged, I should say, and it can be looked at the wrong way. It's a very delicate, layered situation, but this is what Joe Budden also had to add. He said that hypothetically speaking, the women that are accusing people of sexual assault, that he feels some of these women were auctioning their kitties to remain relevant or move up professionally. He insisted actually, that he wasn't necessarily talking about the Russell Simmons situation, but a situation nonetheless. And that is something that we've kind of delved into here on this show because the 90s, early 2000s, especially in hip hop, was a wild time. I am someone that worked in hip hop and music during that era, as well as other aspects of the music industry, other, things connected to that, and, was social. So I understand sometimes when people say things like that, because you can think of specific people or situations that moved in that way. And again, it's not said to diminish anyone that is speaking out about their experience or story where they felt they were assaulted, harmed, or wronged. It's just that, all things happen. We could debate the appropriateness of having those conversations in the same context of someone expressing what they went through as a victim. But again, that is something that is up for debate. Joe said, as somebody that has spent a lot of time in the music business, nobody speaks to the side where these women were auctioning, their kitty to move up the ranks in the system. That existed way before I got to town, but that was happening too. Nobody says that part. Again, I'm not speaking about Russell Simmons. I'm talking about a blanket statement. And I agree with him because it's something that I have seen as well. That does not justify anyone forcibly, putting people in those positions. It's simply acknowledging that a lot of things happen, especially when you're talking about fame and money. There's a lot of gray area at times. So, we'll see if Joe gets any backlash. He always has a lot to say. He's very opinionated. We saw Kimora Lee throwing out little barbs and jabs at Russ and Usher. I'm sure Kimora has an interesting story that maybe one day she'll share, although some people feel like she could potentially be considered one of the individuals that was with it until it no longer served her. But, you never know until they tell their story. I'm sure she will one day. When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Don't settle for bumps, ingrowns, and itch due to dry skin. Try Venus for pubic hair and skin, the razor and regimen specifically designed for your pubic area. Featuring a razor with patent irritation defense bar and skin care regimen that is dermatologist and gynecologist tested. Venus helps protect your pubic skin from shave irritation. Discover the full regimen of products at GilletteVenus.com.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers!
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, NBA fans, I should mention that you could see more NBA games being played on True TV. What's that? The channel that airs 90 million repeats of Impractical Jokers. Well, it is also owned by Warner Brothers Discovery, who also owns TNT, TBS, etc. And they would like to overhaul True TV and pump it up by utilizing their sports properties. So you are going to see more alternate cast, I guess that's what you would call it, of games on that network for NHL, MLB, and NBA. It is they're going to double down and invest in the alt cast system. Like, for example, during the All-Star game, we had the regular feed that had the normal TNT crew, and then there was a Jordan feed that had Draymond Green, Taylor Rooks, and Charles Barkley. So things like that that'll be on an alternate channel. We've seen some of that in streaming. They're also looking to air a late night block of sports movies and documentaries in their new programming story. They're going to add in a show called The Inside Story that's a look at TNT's Inside the NBA program. So they'll be diving into that. The first episode of that will be March 15th. There's also going to be a show called Handles that is going to be interactive. And of course, we'll be talking about the top conversations on social media that surround sports, and a show called The Line that will be a nightly look at betting across various sports. So, as we've said, sports is what is going to be the next wave to try and prop up cable and streaming. So you will see it being stretched and placed everywhere, and sometimes behind paywalls. So get into it, get ready for it. Okay, we mentioned Oprah Winfrey, and we know that she has stepped down from the board of Weight Watchers after her revelation last September that she had tapped into Ozempic to drop the weight like a bunch of people have. She donated her shares. Now, I'm not sure if it was 18 million shares or $18 million worth of shares, but whatever the case is, she donated them to the National African American History Museum. I might be messing up the proper name, but the one that's in DC, NAMIC. I think those are the initials, which, if you haven't visited, is an amazing space, top to bottom. I think it was it was the pandemic year, right before the pandemic. I went and visited. I was in DC for the Urban One Awards, and I went to the museum by myself and went from the top to the bottom. It was an amazing experience. I encourage everyone to check it out. But back to Miss Oprah. So she donated those shares to the museum. We'll see what comes of that. And she has stepped down on the board. Now she has announced that she is going to be releasing a special on ABC, and it's titled An Oprah Special, Shame, Blame, and the Weight Loss Revolution. It's going to air March 18th, and it will delve into the prevailing questions and concerns surrounding the impact of weight loss medications on our healthcare, economy, lifestyle, and culture. And so Miss Oprah released a statement. She said, "It is a very personal topic for me and for hundreds of millions of people impacted around the globe who have for years struggled with weight and obesity. This special will bring together medical experts, leaders in the space, and people in the day-to-day struggle to talk about health equity and obesity with the intention to ultimately release the shame." So, one, good conversation, right? Because there has been a lot of conversation as to whether it was fair that these drugs initially were being coverted by people who weren't necessarily extremely overweight or overweight when they were diabetic patients, which the medication was originally created for, were not able to get it. But now there are whole companies, some of them spun off, that are strictly dedicated to creating their own version of Ozempic or Wegovy as for a specific weight loss drug, not for we're using this diabetes drug for this. And that's going to be a whole industry. I mentioned that a lot of the snack makers are starting to change some of the types of snacks, the ingredients in their snacks and things of that nature, because of the expected change that is going to happen with the wave of users that are using these new weight loss drugs. You can already see the body types are changing, baby. I mean, plastic surgery is always going to be what it is, but maybe people will go back to getting a natural BBL, an athletic BBL, that's what some of them call, instead of getting the Hourglass Antibody Special. And here's the thing. I am all for plastic surgery. If you want to improve yourself, make changes, go for it. Just be educated and understand what you're getting into. And as K. Michelle famously said, make sure you have money down the line to take out whatever you're putting in, put something else in to replace what you've taken out or whatever, because, that's usually how those things go. But make sure to check out Oprah's special. We know we have been talking about Oprah and her weight and riding in that journey with her since the late 80s when she rolled out the wagon full of fat and her brand new jeans on, which she later admitted she was severely unhealthy in that moment. But, it is a struggle for a lot of people, and discussion around it is needed. So once again, shout out to Oprah doing the thing. In other entrepreneur news, since we've been talking a little bit about entrepreneurs and new business ventures, Ray J has announced that he is departing from his company Raycon. It's a tech company, electronics, and he said that he wanted to wait for the perfect time to divest from this to step into his next biggest venture. What I'm going to tell you is I think that Ray J sees all that money that the Zeus network is pouring in, and he wants a piece. So the idea is that Ray J is planning to launch Tronics Network, a television platform. He's starting with an initial investment of $5 million, and he is hoping to reshape the entertainment landscape. We know Ray J he and Princess Love have just announced that they're divorcing, so maybe he needs new areas to focus in on. I love Ray. Shout out to Ray. He is a creative, but I just want to put this out there really quickly to understand the reason why I bring up Zeus and what it's doing, because actually, to a degree, Ray J kind of helped launch Zeus. He and Princess Love had some content that was featured on there and a couple of other things. Well, recently, it was announced that Baddies East, one of the Zeus programs, Natalie Nunn's show, had 171 million views, 67 million total watch hours on the Zeus network. It's the #1 watch show on there. So that just gives you a little idea about the numbers that we're talking about, which means the dollars that are associated with it, and why Ray might want to lean that way. And it also should let you know that when we have these conversations about content, what we want to see, what we want to watch, and things of that nature, remember these numbers. Just think about it. Because though we always say we want the positive, we vote with our views. And the things that we give our attention to say a lot more about, not that we don't want the other things, but the question of if we really, really want these things and that's all that they're bringing to us, we got to look at ourselves sometimes internally. Listen, coming up in hour 2, we have interviews with the complete cast of BMF Season 3. You don't want to miss that. Little Meech Neo, he's joining the cast this season as Greenie. We also talked to a couple of other new cast members. Christopher B. Duncan, you know him from the Jamie Foxx show. He joins the cast. Ren King also makes a great entry. Kelly who plays, I forget the detective's last name, but we talked to her as well. She has a new partner this season. And showrunner Heather Zuhaiki. So make sure you're tapped into that. In hour 3, we are talking to the creatives behind the new Disney Plus animated series, Iwaju, which takes place in Lagos, Nigeria. It's beautiful. It's about Tech, a young girl from a wealthy family, and coming together. So we'll get to hear about that creative process, as well as Sacred Soil, which is on Hulu, the Piney Old School story, which is about the oldest black boarding school in the United States and about their struggles, what they do to enrich the children as far as their educational value and things of that nature. So make sure that you are tapped in with that. Don't forget the time changes this weekend. Thursdays is my Friday, so appreciate you VIPs for always locking in. Make sure you are here every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to lock in with RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Take care and make sure that you are either on the website or download the app to check out these interviews. You do not want to miss them.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. A new White House video shows President Biden